Oh, hey there. How you doing? It's me. So yesterday I recorded this video, but the audio was completely fucked. Like it was really, really, really bad. So now I'm re-recording it right now. And yeah, okay. So basically, a little bit ago, Elon Musk and Hasanabi basically had a little feud on Twitter. They kind of went back and forth with each other. It was a little quick duel, I guess you want to say, over video games. So like a little bit ago, I think a lot of people remember this, where like Elon Musk basically had like he had like a controversy basically about him not being a good gamer, right? People were basically saying like, oh, you're not as good as you're saying, because he kept claiming that like he was like top 4 in Diablo and or like he was like the top player in Diablo 1, one or the other, right? And he was like one of the, like the top 10 players or something like that in Path of Exile 2. A bunch of people were basically calling out saying like, there's just no way. You have like, what's he have, like it's like Neuralink, the Boring Company, Twitter. He has like all these companies. He's also like the shadow president, they call him. He's doing all these different things. There's just no possible way with all these things you would ever be able to grind and have time to be able to do these things, right? That's like kind of what people were saying. Then a little bit ago, so Hassan had basically tweeted out this like game he was sponsoring, whatever, right? Then some like other Twitter user called him out and basically said like, oh, Assassin's Creed sponsoring a terrorist supporter, basically. And then Elon replies and calls Hassan a chicken shithead or something like that, and then like talks like down on him, basically saying like he's a fraud, etc. And then Hassan claps back and he's like, fraud? Because how is he a fraud if he's the main fraud? He's the fraudster, right? So basically, you call him out for being a not real gamer, okay? So they basically went back and forth for like a while, and they're trying, or I don't know if they actually are, but they said they're gonna go at it, or Hassan is looking forward to going at it with Elon, basically. And a lot of people are like under these like few assumptions and speculations that the fact that Hassan had Grimes on stream is the reason why Elon doesn't like Hassan, okay? Because if you don't know, Grimes, the musical artist, is Elon Musk's baby mother and ex-girlfriend, okay? And so, like, you know, you already know how it is, the baby mama drama, all that good stuff. So basically, he's not really feeling him, and it's understandable, right? So Hassan has Elon blocked on Twitter, right? And this is a moment where Grimes basically said something that kind of is like, like, this is what I be talking about, bro. Like, niggas be like, because like I said this before many times before, this was a while ago, but this is before I even, like, I knew Hassan and I would always see Hassan, but I never gave a fuck because I never cared about politics. I couldn't vote. I didn't give a fuck. So now that, but like, since I'm able to vote, right? And like around the time of the election, I was like, okay, I need somebody to like figure out, like, I need to get my information from somewhere. And I'll be like, oh, that Hassan nigga, they always talking about he's the political guy. So I tap into the stream, and a lot of this shit on the stream is like very like, that's not true. And it's like, I slowly realized when I would look at what he would say in his chat agreeing with him, I was like, these people are like, they saying like they aren't thinking properly. They're just like agreeing with the person. So I'm like, what could be the factor of why someone would just blindly listen to someone? And we all know, if you have a charm, or if you're just you bring some sort of bravado or something of value to the table, it doesn't have to be looks, people will flock to you, and they listen to people who they like. They don't listen to the truth, they listen to the people who they like. So if that's the case, whenever I'm like, bro, this nigga's saying like shit that's like, because I would look up what he was saying, be like, that's not true. Look up what he would say, that's not true. So that's how I know a lot of people who are on his side, or like who are in favor of just like anything this nigga does, it's more so that they take a liking to him and not really the content of what he is really putting out. Now, so like what he does generally, right? Like generally in a sense of like the innocence, right? There's like an advocacy that he has for like innocent people, and that's where I can say, okay, I understand where you're coming from. We all have that empathetic side with us, but there's a lot of things that are very like anti-American, and we're all American, so it's like, or not all of us who's watching this, but like, you know, we're in America, he's in America, and a lot of the things that he benefits from are from American politics and like America, so whatever. But regardless of that factor, right? That's kind of my thing about Hassan is just like the anti-American stuff is a little bit, it's a little like, I mean, come on, dude. America's not that bad. I mean, it's done bad things, 100%. But without those bad things, would we really have America right now? Would we have the things that we have right now? I don't think we would have the things that we have. I don't think we would have the same level of things that we have right now if we didn't have America doing bad things. So look, this right here, somebody says, playing Assassin's Creed Shadows once more. Get in for gaming, hashtag ad, buy it here. Crumbs, this is the guy who tweeted it. He says, you can tell a lot about Ubisoft. And then he adds Ubisoft with how much money they're throwing at terrorist platforming streamers, right? And I think that's a lot of people's problem with Hassan, is that like, I think it's like, we don't care about like you wanting to advocate for like, you know, civilians, innocent people, innocent family, children, like, yeah. But then I think there's moments where he took it a little too far, and he would say that the terrorist organization, which would kill people for their identity, is like okay, and it's like there's just no way, right? Like they're taught to not even like Americans. We're all American. They're taught to not even like me. They're taught to not even want to be around me, like because of my identity. Like how can I even support someone? How can you support someone like that? So look, Elon Musk sits here. He says Hassan is a fraud, right? It says, oh, Grums put over here. He says, anti-capitalist my butt. Hassan promos are not cheap, really. I can imagine that. He says sellout would be more accurate. Objectively, he's promoting a terrible game just for the money of it, right? Because I think a lot of his the politics he says is like he stands for like socialism and anti-capitalism, and capitalist is the worst of all the worst, and everything's bad because of capitalism. Capitalism feeds the underground, like fundamental nature of like your normie, right? Or your brokey, right? Like your brokey like gets their everyday consumability from people who just outsmarted them and played the matrix of providing a service that is needed and being able to produce it less than they charge for it, right? So they like Apple is a great example of this. I think Apple's the god tier capitalist, like because they have like everyday daily use like purchasable consumable items, right? Where like they necessitate their own use for the item. They necessitate themselves in order to make you have to pay for another thing, right? Either that's services, either that's for phone or like chargers, the phones, like the MacBooks, right? So like to get stuff fixed, a lot of times you have to go to Apple to like with their phones, they would slow down the phones and make the phones like slower, and they like got like there was like a whole lawsuit on it because like they were basically slowing down the phones on purpose to make it so that you would have to upgrade your phone quicker. Like the storage on your phone, like your phone can go to a higher amount of storage just verbatim, but you have to pay for more storage in order to do that. There's you know, the chargers are very like flimsy and they break very easily. The headphones are like, after a while they get really disproportionately like dirty, and like they get dirt on them easy, and like they just get like gross, and like you just have to buy new ones. They make them like very easy to be replaced. And so since they necessitate themselves as capitalists, now that forces people to have to buy the product more. And he's always been anti-capitalism in a sense of that nature, where you're like basically preying on normies who are going to have to like buy everything again and again and again, right? The reusability of their product or the reproducibility of their production. And so I understand, but without that system in place, you can't even begin to have people who have evaluation high enough to sustain a business that's at the same level that's conglomerated at a governmental level, right? So like you have your congressional hierarchy system, like, you know, taxation, or like your IRS, your higher financial judicial systems that are in place, like the federal banking system, the feds, whatever the case may be, right? Your Jerome Powell's, where the system allows it. So brokey spends money on like basic consumability food or product, and then the original tax goes, or the original price goes to the top echelon capitalist, right? And then the original yield goes to the top echelon capitalists, and then the lower percentile taxation will go to the government. But the government is lending money to the capitalists or the business, the corporations. And so they're like basically up top spending all this money up top, while like kind of bringing a little bit of sprinkly down at the bottom, but they're also pulling that, but then they're also robbing the bottom, while they have, because they have the government has a IRS system which is stealing pockets out of the bottom few and then pulling it back into the pockets. So it's like a transverse triangulated pyramid scheme basically, right? And so like foundationally you can make it stronger if you really wanted to, but it's going to take a lot of time and effort, right? And so like the IRS, I understand it as a purpose and why it's there, but it really just only needs to be there as a fraud detection system, like something that just detects tons of fraud and scammy, like weird shit. But other than that, like the amount of taxes that is like, why is the same, or like even just in similarity, the same percentile being taken from the math? The math isn't even mathing, because this guy, whoever this guy is, makes way trillion million times more than this bottom half like normie brokey. So why would that even be of any use to tax this person at all? The IRS is a stupid mechanism that only, and then the levy system that like the government gives and loans that they give to higher corporation or higher net worth individuals anyways. So it's like, yeah, they tax them, but they get the leniency in loans anyways, or they can finesse it by using and putting their money in other countries anyways. So it's just like the system itself is a flawed system that doesn't even make any sense. You could easily dupe the system by not even have mostly selling all your items. You don't even own anything and having all your money in other countries. You just finesse the system. You don't even have to participate in it, but whatever. So look, I understand where he's coming from, but the real factor is the IRS. The IRS is a scam that steals from broke people to give to higher net worth individuals. And at the end of the day, yelling at a capitalist, it doesn't really do anything, because they're gonna, it's a gematria. The numbers are just, they're just there, right? You know what I'm saying? Like they are playing a game and they're just better. Like we're all in this life, right? They spawned in with either better RNG and they are playing the game better. They got God tier RNG or whatever the case may be. And they said, oh, well, I can provide a service. And if I provide the service of value, then I can employ to then have these people live amongst my wage or business. So I bring forth the value, because the consumer, you as the 200 IQ Jeff Bezos, you bring forth the value for the consumer to consume. But the consumer is not going to consume if there's no value put there. So it's a system in place that makes sense of the smartest of the smart, or like people who have created a system smart enough to beat the bell curve. Like, well, that effectively allows them to be capitalists, and that is something that it just has to be. Like there's just people who are smarter. It's the same thing with this intelligence. Like there's people who are dumb as fuck and there's people who are smart as fuck. So of course it's going to be the case, right? Of course it's going to be the case. So Hassan basically calls him a fraud. And this is what he had to say about it, okay?
Like the fucking literal president, which I'm going to talk about in a second. The literal current president, the shadow president, is doing call out posts, calling me a freaking fraud on his website. The fuck? How can you tell me that I am not a gamer? How can you tell me that I'm not a gamer when the president of the United States of America, perhaps the planet, is freaking out about my gaming? He's not the president of gaming, let me tell you. Like the
So yeah, they're basically going at it about gaming, right? You know, they're mad gamers. They're gamers, like they're hard body gamers like that. You know what I'm saying? So what's it called? Elon Musk's daughter, his daughter Vivian, said that he would be down. She would. She says Elon Musk's daughter said she'd go on Hassan's stream invited. Let's make it happen. Maybe at a fundraiser for charity too. I think this is a great idea, and I think they should do it. What's the harm in that? It's a win-win. Okay. So it says, we go on Hassan's stream. If I ever get invited, on them totally, I'm pretty sure he's halfway off for today. So will they ever do it? Who knows? Because we've seen Elon in the past challenge people, say he's going to do things to people, and he never actually came through with it. Like I remember there's like, I know everybody remembers when Mark Zuckerberg and Elon were supposed to go at it, and Elon's like, he's going to sit on him and weigh on him like a Teletubby or something. Got toothpaste on my shirt. And basically every time someone challenges, he almost ducks every time. What is that? What is that? What is that? So, I mean, it all depends, you know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh. It all depends whether or not he's actually down for the task. I think it'd be cool. And like this guy said, adding a little charity spin on it wouldn't be too bad. So that's really it. I mean, they kind of just went at it about gaming. And yeah, that's Hassan versus Elon Musk. Musk hate Hassan. No, it's a bad one. But yeah, with that being said, teams, on our episode for today. So all my huggers and kisses out there. Hope y'all doing some great things out there. You know what I'm saying? Hope you're gaming it up, living life, breathing air, taking in nature, sunlight, ooh, all that good stuff. And that's being your boy. So I'll see you when you're older.